Morning, everyone. Hope all's well. This is our weekly update on government support for the coronavirus. There hasn't been that much. Oh, it's also Corn on the Cob Day, which is amazing. And ET 1982. I don't know if you guys remember that. You're probably younger than me, but that I remember going with all my family to watch that movie many years ago, obviously. So with the government support this time. Um, the big things, we are still waiting for details to come out, but the main one that came in basically last minute, which Emily, I know that you pointed out to Jason, but it's actually came in on the 9th of this, basically, what was it, Tuesday, right at the end, just before it wasn't going to be allowed. So that was the fact that maternity leave people or paternity coming back can actually be put onto furlough. So with that, the reason for that is and that's going forward all the way up until October, because what happened was there was the 10th of June deadline that was met, which was basically when all employees who haven't been furloughed yet will not be able to be furloughed going forward. So if you have someone that you haven't furloughed now, and you want to furlough them in July, August, September, October, you won't be able to do that. You can only furlough those that have already been furloughed. So we have actually furloughed a few people on the 9th of June who hadn't been furloughed already. Now, the reason for the paternity one is obviously paternity and maternity weren't actually allowed to be furloughed because they were on paternity leave. So what has happened is that they were saying that that was prejudicial for those people who are on maternity and paternity leave. So the 9th of June, right at the last minute, just before the deadline on the 10th, they basically said that you can actually do maternity and paternity leave people that come back. However, the details of how this is going to operate is the 14th of June that we get the details. The other main thing is that there's going to be more details on the flexi furlough and how it's going to work and calculated, and that's going to be tomorrow. We're not sure if it's going to be blog worthy because it might be really detailed that we need as accountants, but if there is something that's worth you guys knowing, we will put it in there. But at the moment there's no detail to the guidance, so it's difficult to know everything that we need to be doing on that. And then the final thing is that there is a potential, because I've said potential, they haven't announced it's definite, but there's going to be an emergency budget on the 8th of July. So that will be of interest to everybody if that does happen, to see what they're going to say. So those are the main things. Obviously, we've got flexi furlough, which we talked about last week here. The furlough, coronavirus job retention scheme version 2, flexi furlough coming in July. And that means that you can actually work or have somebody working and on furlough part, and then they get the salary. Obviously, when they're working, you pay 100% of their salary and all of their benefits. So that's from the 1st of July. And then obviously from August, we mentioned that you would be paying the national insurance contributions and the pension contributions. So that, which is a payment of about 5%, you still get 80%. Then from September, it's lowered to 70% furlough, where you pay 10% as an employer. And the effective cost of that is about 14%. And you still pay the pensions and NI. And then from October, it's lowered to 60, with you paying, the company paying 20%, government paying 60, and that's effectively a furlough payment of 20%, because that's also your pensions and everything as well. So those are the main things that we spoke about last week, but this is basically the news that is happening now. So not that much new news, I'm afraid, but it's all worth it, knowing what's going on. So the one thing, if you've got any questions, put them in. But the one thing that's sort of worth putting to Steve, which we've been asked, is that, so Steve, if somebody is on maternity leave and they haven't actually done a furlough yet, how is that going when they come back? How will that actually transpire? How will the furlough claim go through?
That's a very good question, and unfortunately, until we get the details through, we don't know. Because the concern at the moment is, whilst they've made this announcement, which, as Nikolai said, it was very much made at the 11th hour, suddenly realising as the deadline loomed that there was this group of people who would potentially be in trouble because of it. They haven't dealt with the details yet. My concern is that the portal will not be set up to recognise someone coming back from maternity as different from someone that simply hasn't been furloughed already. So there's likely to be some potential technical problems with that first claim, where someone coming back from maternity leave is effectively being furloughed for the first time. But as has been the case with a lot of things here, we shall have to wait and see. It must be said, HMRC have achieved some surprisingly impressive things with some of the setup here. So, fingers crossed they do manage to get something in there in order to fix that. They have now finally brought in a system to allow over claims to be adjusted in future furlough claims, whereas before you would just simply change the figures for a later claim. There should be a system for underclaims coming in the near future, so they are constantly working on the portal. Hopefully that they will get something in place before 1st of July to flag employees as returning from parental leave. And indeed, I mean, we've been saying maternity pay, it's all parental leave, so that's paternity pay, adoption pay, and the hopefully rarely used parental bereavement leave as well. All of those should qualify under this new arrangement. But yeah, again, we're waiting for details to see how it will actually work.
Yeah. I mean, one thing is with the portal, the furlough portal that's used, we can't see how they can identify currently if someone's on maternity or coming back from maternity to paternity, unless they add an extra column in, and you actually have to tick that box, which is what I'm hoping, rather than a totally new portal. But we'll see what actually happens there. But that's all to come out on the 14th of June, hopefully. Oh, we have another question. So this is from Mandy. Says she thought that the flexi furlough that 100% had to be paid by the employee, not 80%. So the 20% had to be made up, basically.
Right. No, this is it's possibly a confusion about the way that the flexible furlough is supposed to work. The arrangements are for those days that an employee works, you do have to pay 100% for those days that they're actually working, and there are no furlough claims for those days. For those days where they're furloughed, we're claiming the 80%, reducing over the coming months, and you only have to pay employees 80% for those days where they are furloughed. So yeah, the furlough scheme, the payments are exactly as before. The 100% is only for days where they're actually doing work, which seems reasonable. If someone's actually doing a full day's work, they should be getting the full day's pay for it.
Yeah, I mean, this is where it's going to become very difficult for Jason to calculate all this, because he's going to have to work out what you need to be paying, as in the staff, the team member, and then also work out what is the furlough claim. So that's why we are really wanting the detail from HMRC and the government on all this, because the flexi furlough is going to be really complicated for us to do, just because if people are flexi working, just because it's not straightforward, as Steve said, it's 100% when they're working that you have to pay, and then it's 80% plus whatever else you have to pay. If it's in August, you have to pay the 10%, and it's just that whatever the change is, you have to pay. So that's the difference that we've got to look at how it works. Okay, so there was another question. Let me just see. Sorry. Yeah, well, it's sort of similar. So how many hours can I have someone working from July?
This is something we hope will be clarified with the the details coming out tomorrow. As things stand, as far as we're aware, you can have someone working as many hours as you have worked for them. So you could have them working 1 hour, you could have them working full time, though obviously if they're working full time, you won't be able to claim any furlough for them. There may be restrictions. It may be you need to have employees in for whole days. But say as it stands, until we get those details that are going to be released tomorrow night, we can't confirm that. If there is anything like that in the details coming out tomorrow night, obviously that will be very blog worthy, because that's something that's very important to the decisions you're going to make about who you're going to bring back in and how long, if there are any restrictions on the hours they can work. So rest assured, if anything like that comes in, we will be circulating information about it. But as things stand, as far as we're aware, you can pretty much use whatever hours you like.
Yes, I mean, there's even talk that people can work 39 hours if you're on a 40-hour, on the 40 hours a week, and then one of the hours is furloughed, which is going to be, it's very interesting currently. So we need to see what it is, because there's no true definition of how that works. Okay, are there any other questions? Because there's no, I mean, the budget, the emergency budget will be interesting when that comes out, just to see, well, if it does occur, just because we've had so much money going out of the economy to help everybody in the furlough and for grants and everything, that we obviously need the economy to get kick-started and moving again. It is starting. I can hear the hum of the road in our garden and now, which I couldn't hear for a very long time. There's a lot more traffic going, so I can see there's a lot more activity even where I live. So hopefully things are getting back to some more normality with people and businesses. Obviously schools going back will help a lot if that does happen, but that's obviously something that government are working on as well. So if there is anything else you want to add, Steve?
No, as you say, I think at the moment we're waiting for details. So there will be changes coming in the near future. And indeed, I expect the budget, should it go ahead, will be extremely interesting because he's going to want to balance paying for the grants that have been paid out against making sure that businesses are able to get up and get going again. So it's an unenviable position he's in. Should be an interesting time, but yeah, at the moment it's very much wait and see.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Steve, and have a great corn on the cob day. I will actually tell my kids that it's corn on the cob. One of them loves it, the other one hates him. But have a great day and a good weekend. All right, take care. Bye.